Coming up in today's video, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about Andrade, who apparently walked out of a wrestling event, a major event, and this is really, really strange. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the real reason for a WWE suspension. We're going to talk about War Games. We're going to talk about John Cena, the Intercontinental Champion, Saturday night's main event. It's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button, ring that bell. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I'm going to keep you guys updated every single day along the way with everything that's happening in professional wrestling. Let's talk about it. John Cena. Ladies and gentlemen, John Cena won the Intercontinental Championship on WWE Raw. Some people are... Why? Why are people mad at this? I don't know. Personally speaking, I don't know. Beats me. I swear, it really does beat me. I've been talking about this for months. John Cena should win the Intercontinental Championship. He should defend it on Saturday night's main event against a rising star. It just kind of makes sense. Or he could retain the belt and then they introduce a new championship instead. It was very strange, but some people are upset about this, and I think you just can't please absolutely every wrestling fan. But it does make me laugh a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So then it comes out that John Cena on Raw, Saturday night's main event, we're going to have exhibition matches between NXT talent and main roster stars, which really does make sense. If you look at how John Cena came up through the system within OVW, getting a shot at Kurt Angle, it really made his career. John Cena went back to the Performance Center, and it's actually being said this was John Cena's decision. Like, as far as what Saturday night's main event will be when he retires, it was his choice. He wants NXT talent. He wants the future versus the present, and I think this is a wonderful idea. I think John Cena is a certified G and a bona fide stud for absolutely doing this. I think he made the right call. I think WWE's making the right call here. There's a lot of talent in NXT who, realistically could benefit from being featured on this card. I look at Javon Evans. I look at Obafemi. I mean, let's do some big-time matches on this card. Let's put the future over. WWE is getting kind of stagnant. Obviously, this week's Raw was great, but what are you going to do when the John Cenas and the Randy Ortons are gone? When these legends, I mean, these guys are becoming, they're at the tail end of their career. It's time to focus on the future. This was the right call. I'm super glad that John Cena was the one who actually decided to do this. Props to him, for real. Speaking of John Cena, this brings us to War Games Survivor Series. What are the potential plans? Now, we have talked about John Cena being featured in War Games, but we didn't really have credibility to it. We just kind of talked about it from the perspective of like, hey, John Cena hasn't done a War Games, like he should do a War Games. And, this is a really good way to feature him in a big time match before he has his retirement match. And it actually turns out that he will be part of the show. Now, Ibu, you guys might remember him from Wrestle Purist, Self-Made PW. He came out and revealed that Cena is indeed going to be part of the chaos. He says John Cena is working War Games. Corey Hayes of Bodyslam.net came out and actually added more to the story. He says this has been discussed for a few weeks. And obviously that means a variety of things because WWE, they're pretty smart. John Cena, they pretty much have everything mapped out, which allows me to talk about something that I think maybe some people will disagree with me on. And that's okay. If you guys disagree, you disagree. I understand. But personally speaking, The Rock and Travis Scott ruined John Cena's retirement tour. That's one way to look at it. But in my personal opinion, just me being honest here, no. I don't even remember that shit anymore. And I'm sorry to say this because it did ruin it, and I was pissed off about it. But the second half of John Cena's retirement tour has actually been enjoyable to watch. And now you throw him in as Intercontinental Champion, you put him in this War Games match, and you give him a perfect send-off at Saturday night's main event. In my heart of hearts, I truly believe the Travis Scott, The Rock thing, the heel turn, it's all forgettable. I do. I'm not going to sit here and allow that to rub off to a point where I no longer enjoy John Cena retiring. You know what I mean? It's already bittersweet. John Cena's leaving. I love John Cena. I think this guy, I think so highly of him, as I've said countless times in this video. But when it comes to John Cena in War Games, dude, how can you not want to see that? As a wrestling fan, that's what I want to see. And I like the idea of this so much because, as I said, it's like the WWE Avengers. So for me personally, I'm just super excited about this match. I'm super excited to get to the end and see how WWE caps off his career. But everything has been calculated. WWE has been very calculated. They can't help the fact that The Rock and Travis Scott were problematic, but everything else has pretty much been a big hit, especially when John Cena turned babyface again. I think that right there was everything you need to know, every reason why you should get back on track. And it's important that WWE ends it strong, bro, because what are you going to do when John Cena's not here? You know, so hopefully WWE has a plan, but hopefully this War Games match goes incredibly well. All right, and that brings us to Drew McIntyre. Now, you guys saw Nick Aldis suspended Drew McIntyre from WWE television, and everybody's talking about this. I mean, Drew McIntyre is a top star, and Dave Meltzer immediately has an answer. He says, hey, Drew is being taken off WWE television because he's got a movie to film. Then the talent agent, I think it's from like Paradigm or whatever, Nick Lopocolo, he comes out. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, by the way, but he comes out and immediately debunks that and says, no, he's not. Like, Drew doesn't even have a movie to film until 2026, which would be the Highlander movie. So that's where things get really interesting. PW Insider comes out and they actually debunk Dave Meltzer as well. And they say this is purely for storyline reasons. Drew McIntyre was only suspended because they're trying to build tension and make this even bigger than it actually is, which I credit WWE for doing that because Drew McIntyre is a very big part of WWE SmackDown. He is involved in a very big storyline. Nobody really knows if he's going to actually end up becoming the champion or whatever, but at some point, people are curious to see what the hell is actually going on here. But you got Dave Meltzer coming out and basically saying, no, he's filming a movie, easily getting debunked, which further proves that Dave Meltzer either has really bad sources or he's just assuming things, and that's not good at all. Now, obviously, with Drew McIntyre, I do question if removing him from SmackDown right now is a good choice because I feel like SmackDown is very hit or miss, very inconsistent of a show, but he is a top star. Is this going to be the thing that kind of helps beef up the storyline? I personally don't know. If I'm being true to myself and critiquing a little bit here, I think Drew probably shouldn't have been suspended if he's going to be suspended a long time. We don't know how long he's going to be suspended for, but obviously they're trying to build this up and I get it. But I think SmackDown needs Drew. I think SmackDown needs some top stars. I think SmackDown needs to be a little bit better booked. I don't know what Road Dogg is doing on SmackDown. I don't know what's happening over there. But I think SmackDown needs a little bit of help. And I think by removing Drew McIntyre, that could be somewhat problematic, which is something I don't necessarily enjoy. But I kind of get the idea of it. And Dave Meltzer honestly doesn't look that smart here by just assuming he's going to go film a movie. Because truth be told, Drew McIntyre is probably going to have a Hollywood career after WWE. We're already starting to see that he's able to land some roles, and that's very good for him, obviously. And he's actually not bad at acting at all. But you just kind of have to wonder exactly like, why is the assumption that he's automatically going to just go make some movies or whatever? I don't know. Very, very strange situation, but that's the reason why he's been suspended. And obviously, it's a storyline suspension, if you couldn't tell by now. And that brings us to our final topic. I thought we were talking about Andrade, but apparently he continues to be in the headlines. Andrade El Idolo walks out of a major Lucha Libre event amid ongoing wrestling drama. That's the headline I saw this morning. And then, of course, every other podcaster and every other dirt sheet is talking about this. But according to Dave Meltzer, Andrade walked out of the anniversary show for the Crash. And this is kind of crazy. He says Andrade, who was booked for the Crash's anniversary show, left the event after fulfilling his meet and greet obligations. The reason for his abrupt departure was that he was unhappy with something at the show. So he got fired from WWE in September, shows up to AEW, can't go back to AEW. WWE then reportedly has no plans for Andrade to return, but he does have this non-compete clause, but he is able to work in Mexico. So he wins the Crash Heavyweight Championship last month. Obviously a very, very big deal. But now he walks out of the Crash. We don't know everything here. We don't know what truly happened. We don't even know if the reason for his walkout was justified. So I'm not going to jump the gun and point fingers at Andrade. But without context, this looks messy, and this sure as hell doesn't look like a good thing for Andrade. Again, without context. Now, I like to have context before I judge someone for something that they do. And in this case, I cannot do that. But to provide fair analysis here, I will say this. Andrade being in the headlines for all the wrong reasons right now. This doesn't really look that good. So the fact that he's already been problematic in Mexico is not a good sign of what could potentially come in the future. You have to wonder, would Tony Khan want him back after the non-compete clause? You have to wonder what exactly is going to be happening here. It's a very tricky situation, but Andrade walking out clearly isn't a good look. I don't think there's a way to spin that. It would be nice if we receive some context, so that way maybe the situation could look a little bit better. But as of right now, there is none. But you have to wonder, is this becoming problematic now? Wellness violations that were reported, showing up in AEW when you have a non-compete clause. You know, we're living in very interesting times here. So just kind of keep that in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.